Anyway, should we get started?
Yes.
Jeez, bro. You alright?
Yeah, I just had to assert dominance real quick, that's all.
Well, guys, this isn't video 100, but today we released the 100th video on the channel. Woohoo, yay!
Yeah!
Clap. I don't know if you can hear me clapping, but I am clapping. Yeah, video 100. Dallas, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've been doing this since... Well, I mean, technically, we've been making videos since 2014. I remember, Connor, do you remember when we did the chicken nugget challenge back in, like, 2014, whenever you came to my house?
I think I was at a trip that day.
No, I thought you were there. I remember.
No.
Really?
Because I know you and Isaac talked about getting sick afterwards from eating all the chicken nuggets.
Well, it was... We had been making videos since 2014, basically. And then 2018 we made a Nerf video called The Last Cookie. And then 2019 we were like, hey, let's just upload the video and make it our personal channel. And so we've been doing this for 5 years now. February 4th, the 5-year anniversary for our YouTube channel. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked about that one episode, right?
Yeah.
We talked about that. Yeah, man, 100. It doesn't, like, when you scroll through the videos, you feel like it's more than 100 because of how much time has passed. Like, you see young Kai and Isaac, and you're just like, yeah, this has at least been 200 freaking videos. But when it's only been like 100, you think about that, and
it's crazy seeing like Kai grow up too, because he was like 4'7" or something when we started with like a tiny voice, and now he's like taller than all of us with a deeper voice than us.
Yeah, Kai actually definitely has the most transformation because he just looks like a child, like a wee baby. I just feel like Dallas, your hair has just changed.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that. Why did you cut your hair? I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm just wondering, you had long hair and then you had short hair. So, like, what happened?
The long hair was just, like... It was harder to keep, for one. But also, I just felt like it had run its course. Because I kind of went through, like, different waves of length. Because, like, back in the day when I was, like, 12, it was, like, shoulder length. Then came the era, like the next era, which was the beginning of the Spyctrum era, where it was really short.
Sounds like you're like saying Taylor Swift songs, like I was in my, I don't know, whatever era.
My short hair.
I was
era.
in my Spyctrum era. I was in my short hair era.
Is it alright if I butt in real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna butt in real quick. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I also kind of sucked as a cousin, because when we were younger, I just always bullied you for having long hair, and now I'm the one with long hair.
You literally called me Fabio.
And now I'm the one with long hair.
Dang. Christian, you feel like you are the mean cousin, I think, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I do pity Dallas.
Even before I knew what memes were, I was just that chaotic, just chaos incarnated, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, I mean, that kind of leads... I don't know if we have, but I remember last podcast, Christian and I were going to tell the story of how we accidentally got high off of cologne.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, yes, please. Yeah.
Wait, so Christian, do you want to take the wheel on this one, or do you want to like? Do you want me to, or do you want to like double team?
I'll let you steer the story. I'll butt in if there's anything I notice, anything I want to throw in or correct or anything.
All right. Well, so Christian and I were in his room, right? Were we playing video games?
I believe I had just got finished playing a little bit of Saints Row 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we were playing Saints Row in his room, just messing around because that's what we do. And then this was like around the time that you had done the Cologne Battle Royale, which was like an old privated video, which maybe I can unprivate it if anybody wants to see that. But it was an old TikTok that he made. And
if I'm not mistaken, didn't YouTube originally take the video down because it was considered harmful?
Oh, really?
No, I think it was because it was one of the cologne companies got upset that you gave it a low score, and so it was like it threatened to take the video down.
They
you
weren't mad
joking?
that I swallowed cologne. They were mad that I gave him a low score for taste.
Yeah, it doesn't taste very good.
Dude, what? Are you joking? That sounds fake. That
No.
sounds. Why would they freaking care?
Wait, hold up. Was it Old Spice? It's just
And one of them was Old Spice. The other one
It
was
was
Versace. I
Versace.
think.
Yeah, it was Versace. Yeah, I think
Wait,
it
you
was.
drank cologne? I'm
Yeah,
just now processing that. I'm sorry. What?
Well, I
no,
sprayed it in my
legit.
mouth, so
mine wasn't intentional.
Uh,
Yeah,
like
it
legit.
wasn't
elf
like I just
style?
opened it up and started gulping.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of imagining.
No, he just spritzed it in his mouth and was like, 6 out of 10, like that kind of deal.
Yeah,
Um,
like no. Okay.
And so he still had like a ton of cologne from
I had
that
like
video.
5 different bottles just because I'm used to like. Obviously, every single year, your parents and grandparents are going to get you deodorant and body spray, this, that, the other. So it just kept adding on and adding on. I'm like, you know what? I got a good use for this.
Did you
Yeah.
just not use it? Christian,
I mean,
what?
I used it, but it's just like so many people were getting so much. Like, just for one Christmas, for instance, I can think of at least 4 people who are like, oh, we don't know what to get a teenage boy. Let's get him, boom, deodorant and cologne.
Sounds
So
like
after
this
a
is a
while,
sign.
it just starts adding up, and there's so much of it you don't use. So it's like,
You're just like, I'm gonna keep this vintage deodorant from 2019.
basically,
Vintage, yeah. It's
but like,
aging like fine wine.
I got all this like deodorant and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I had this half empty, not even half empty. There was like only a sip left of maybe Dr. Pepper in it from Taco Bell. I had this big old cup.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna add some flavor. I'm gonna try put a little Old Spice in it, put a little Axe in it, put a little Versace, this, that, the other.
Okay.
To clarify, the Versace thing came from a cheap box at Goodwill, so don't think I'm rich.
Yeah, bro.
I had to
Um,
clarify that so no one gets the wrong idea. But
maybe your grandma really thought she wants you to smell really good. I don't know, man.
I guess so, man. But anyways, like put all the deodorant in. I mean the cologne in. And I'm like, you know what? We should throw some more stuff in. So we start just looking around the room and throwing everything in. Like I don't know why, but I used to keep a thing of toothpaste in the bathroom and then I'd keep one in my drawer. Just
No.
I don't know why, but I'm like, you know what? I got one in my drawer. Gonna open it up, put half the toothpaste in there.
This sounds like the freaking dude. This doesn't sound like something you would. Wait, hold on. You know what? Continue.
Sounds
Just
like
continue.
Elf, but with cologne.
The Dr. Pepper from Taco Bell, the cologne, and what was the last part?
Battery.
Yeah, there was batteries, there was shaving cream, there was
Yeah.
Okay.
literally everything.
Didn't we put
Wait,
there?
what did
there
you
was
do with
something-
this?
There was something else in your drawer too. There was just like some random chemical thing that we found. Was it like this stuff? Like the stuff that you find like the little packets of like grain that you find and stuff to like make sure that it doesn't like corrode? I think we ripped one of those open and just
Oh,
One of those cooling packets.
yeah.
oh, bro.
Put a what?
Yeah.
Dude, I thought you were about to say you drank this.
Oh
You
no,
said
no,
No,
no.
we didn't
God,
drink it.
Oh,
we
I
just-
thought
I was so worried. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
batteries? You just drank
No, we didn't.
battery acid?
But we got something that ended up probably just as bad.
Maybe even worse. All right, so we made the concoction, right? It was,
What?
it smelled like bad choices, right? So we were sitting down unknowingly inhaling fumes of death and destruction. And after probably like 20 minutes, maybe it must have been longer. It was like maybe like an hour.
Because you remember, I started making fun of. Okay, so like 5 minutes go by, and Dallas starts acting like he's high. So me, since I'm feeling just perfect, feeling okie dokie, I'm thinking Dallas is exaggerating. He's just being a baby.
No, but we were outside though, because remember we went back to playing Saints Row for a little bit, and then we went outside, and I had
Yeah.
like a really, really, really bad headache.
And the whole time I'm just like, dude, you're fine, bro. Stop acting like. Blah, 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 blah.
And then literally the next day, it was that night. It was that night. Christian was watching a literal World War II Holocaust documentary and thought that one of the Nazi officers was our grandpa. Legitimately.
Grandpa, no.
Yeah.
Hey, look, he follows us TV.
I swear to God, I said that. I said no, Grandpa, no. Or I said no, Papa, no, because that's what I call him. But
Is
I
that
thought this was
Papa?
just going in the way of like when you mix all like the bottles of shampoo and body wash in the shower and just mix it
Mhm.
and then you just use that.
Oh yeah,
So
no,
that's
this
that
was
thought that was where this was going, but
no.
I forgot that you got high. I forgot that you specified that you got high at the beginning of the story. And wow.
As you do.
The batteries I think is the part.
I
Were
don't know
they
what part it
open
is. I think
batteries or
it
was it just
all
a
bad.
double A battery?
I think it was just a AA battery that we just threw in the thing. Did we attempt to crack the battery, Christian? Do you remember?
I believe I tried to, but I decided to wuss out
This is
because I was like,
crazy, dude.
I wussed
Yeah.
out because I was like, I'm fine with inhaling poison, but I don't want this to blow up in my
Oh, okay.
hands.
Yeah, no, that sounds horrifying. You should have drank it though. A real man would have drank that crap. We'll make it again.
Okay, well, hold on, Tyler.
500 subs, we will drink it.
Tyler, listen,
What?
I didn't want to make Dallas jealous.
What?
I didn't want to make Dallas jealous, but when he did leave, I decided to just chug it all like a man.
What? You didn't
Ah,
share?
attaboy. Attaboy.
Listen, Dallas, I just saw it looked so good, I couldn't share it. There's just, man.
That.
And now the
Dude.
bloodline, you have to keep the bloodline pure, man. Learn from that documentary.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
I learned a
Oh,
lot from
God.
that documentary.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh
gosh.
God.
That took me like 2 minutes to realize what you just said.
So today is what episode is this? Episode 9. And today I was like, we need something that's a little bit more edgy. So I was like, okay, why don't we bring back some famous topics that we're used to and that we have fought over for generations. And I would not be surprised if there is a war over this with the Gen Z kids, honestly, in the future. Probably. Yeah. So the question is water wet? I'm gonna let whoever wants to take the mic on this one. Is water wet?
I do have an answer, but the issue is my answer is kind of like I kind of want to save it because I feel like my answer is going to be the be all end all. I feel like once I say it, I feel like everybody else is going to be convinced.
Can we use sources?
Don't get all technical on me, but yeah, sure.
Okay,
You can
never
use
mind.
sources. I'm not using
Well, what-
sources.
While he's looking it up, I put my input in.
Absolutely.
So, in order for something to be wet, it has to have a liquid on its surface. Water,
Yeah.
therefore, cannot be wet because if you like, let's say I have water, right? You can't pour water on water. It just you could, but when you do so, you don't have water on top of water. You just have more water. Now, I don't know if I explained that the best way.
Okay. No, I get what you're saying. I think there's a technicality here because it's like wet. It depends on how you're using it, I guess.
Mhm.
Which obviously there's the technical definition for you nerds, but there's like
Well, hold on.
wet.
How would you define wet?
Well, because wet is like, so you could, in my opinion, you could interpret it two ways. Wet is the capacity that something holds water, like it's wet. So like a towel being wet means it's like it's holding water,
Mhm.
right? It's like it's a more of like an adjective that is like a description, I guess, of it. Whereas I also feel like it could be like a feeling of something wet. Like it feels wet, but it might not actually be wet, right?
But you wouldn't say
You'd
it's
say
wet.
it
You would
feels
say
wet.
that it feels wet.
That is true. That is true. You kind of got me there.
So
Yeah. I don't know. What did you got, Dallas?
I'll say, okay. Are we counting the individual water molecules? Because technically, something that could be wet is if a water molecule is on another water molecule, does that technically make each of those water molecules wet? So I would argue water is technically wet in a way whenever it's a bunch of water together, but whenever it's a single individual water molecule, it is not wet.
So if you're saying if you got a single molecule of water, like separated that, then that would not be wet.
Yes. If you were to just have a singular water molecule, just a single H2O molecule.
But anytime you like touch a bottle of water, and there's
Okay.
like condensation on the bottle, then it's wet.
Yeah, well, I mean, think of it like this. If there is a water molecule and your finger touches that water molecule, your finger would now be wet. If a water molecule touches another water molecule, that water molecule is now wet. Because technically, the definition of wet is, as Christian said, being covered in water or
just
in being in contact with water.
I
Yeah.
forgot how brain rotting this topic feels. Actually, it's
So wait,
actually-
you're saying we're 70% wet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Oh, wait.
we're always. I mean, unless you happen to be in the middle of the desert, you haven't had any water in months. Then yeah, you're going to be wet. 70% of your weight's water.
Jeez,
70% of
that's
your
crazy.
wife is water?
Wait,
Whoa.
sorry, I got gum.
Wait, oh, I thought you said wife. I'm like, God, what?
Sorry, I'm chewing gum.
70% of your body is water?
Or your body weight is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no
Sorry, I'm a
wife.
little slow.
Your wife? Like, what the?
I mean, technically,
Anyway,
your
I'll
wife
have
would
you
be...
know that his name is Mark Dallas.
I think water is wet under very specific circumstances.
I feel like water has to be wet. I feel like it is wet, but people who just want to, like it's not special until you actually think about it, right? Like, nobody would doubt beforehand that if water was wet. Because, like, what you associate with feeling something being wet is, like, kind of like when you touch water, it's wet, right? Like, you know something, like a towel is wet because it's got water on it, right? So you kind of say that the water is wet. But you wouldn't necessarily, my point is, you wouldn't necessarily, like, if you're just going about your business, you wouldn't necessarily be like, no, water isn't wet. It's you wouldn't actually deep think about it that much. So I think it's the people who are making it too much of a big deal. Let's just say water is wet. Let's not get into it.
Can I ask a
Let's
question?
call it a day.
Can I ask a counter question? If that's
You
a word.
may. You should say may. You may ask a
Okay.
question.
So, if we shouldn't think so deep about it, if we should just leave it as water's wet, okay, nothing else about it, why bring it up as a topic?
Because I'm tired of. I am tired of.
You don't want us to think about it, but then you brought the topic up for us to think about.
It was more of like a bring your hopes and dreams up and then just crush them. You know,
What?
right? You know what I'm saying? Just like bring up all your hopes.
So, like,
and-
you're saying, so, like, if I had said water is not wet, you would have busted out friggin' Ben Shapiro style, like,
Actually,
destroy
with facts and
me.
logic. Yeah.
Facts and logic me.
I just thought about the rap song he came
Yeah, I
out
was
with,
about to.
and now it's completely just consuming my brain right now.
Wait, wait, what?
You didn't
Yeah,
see
Yeah,
he
he's
came
got
out
a-
with a rap song.
With
There's
Tom
no way.
McDonald. Yeah, he did.
Hold on.
I'm not. Hold up. Do you have Spotify?
It's
Did
fire,
I
bro.
send that?
Yeah, you have Spotify, right, Dallas?
I do have Spotify because of the podcast. There's actually no.
You need to listen to
Oh.
it right now.
He did a rap with Tom McDonald?
You need to listen to his line, because the thing about it is, like, it sounds like it's a parody. You know, like, it doesn't, like, this is exactly what I feel like somebody would write if they were trying to mimic Ben Shapiro, but it's literally him singing it. It's like he's joking about himself.
Wait,
You know,
hold on.
it's like he's a freaking clown in this. It's actually not that bad.
Raps, give everybody a gun. If you want abortion, I don't care.
That's wild. If you want abortion, I don't care. In this house, we drink mug.
When you mentioned the Ben Shapiro song, I was gonna start singing the rock rap music. It's about drive. It's about power. We stand
Oh
on
gosh.
the power.
You oh my gosh. You mean Face Off? Oh god, what a great song.
I just watched the Ben Shapiro part of the rap, and I have no words. Okay, Ben Shapiro rapping. Okay, you know Simon from Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Yeah.
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 Like, okay, imagine Simon just, like, found some random MP3 player and just started listening to a ton of Eminem.
This is like, yeah, it's like Simon this is like Simon's, if he gets into rap, he's just kind of his phase where he's like mad at the world because they named Alvin and the Chipmunks Alvin and the Chipmunks and not Simon and the Chipmunks. So he's just like got this whole like Batman type villain arc going on. Then becomes a rapper. Just starts doing just like hardcore like street drugs, you know.
I think
And then like 20 years later, after he's hit rock bottom, he turns his life around. You know.
Imagine Theodore doing meth.
What is wrong with you?
Simon always gave me the impression that he helped out with Operation Paperclip.
What? What is
What was
Operation
that?
Paperclip?
Dallas, very quickly, could you look up Operation Paperclip?
Why me?
Because I want you to be the one to say it.
I don't want to be the one to say.
Basically, the government was like, okay, Nazis, instead of, imprisoning y'all can just join us and help build NASA. That was the whole point of it. Like, these were war criminals, guys that were, like, responsible for you know what? And America was like, okay, it's cool. Can you build a rocket? That's all that we care about.
What, dude? Why would you bring this up?
Because Simon helped with it. I know he did.
Oh. You think he was a Nazi or that he helped bring in the Nazis,
He
though?
was with the CIA, so he wasn't a Nazi, but he helped bring them over here.
Okay. Because he probably got a lot of money from
See,
it,
that's
right?
that's why he did it. He saw the money and he was like, hey, a Nazi's better than a commie in Simon's mind, so he helped him out.
This is the wildest discussion we've ever had on the podcast.
Are we establishing that Simon is a libertarian capitalist? Like, is that what
No,
we're
I'm saying
establishing?
Simon is a Nazi sympathizer.
Oh, all right. So he's a fascist.
Not
not
quite
really.
fascist. He's kind of like
Yeah, I
that.
guess really.
He's kind of like that Lindbergh, whatever his name was, that tried to run for president, and was like,
the cheese guy.
What are you talking about? The cheese guy? Is it the cheese guy?
The Limburger cheese.
no, there was some famous dude. I can't remember what he was famous for. I know that his son got kidnapped, and he was like, but he was also a eugenist, or he was a firm believer in eugenics, and then his disabled son disappeared one day, and think he kind of killed him. But anyways, this guy ran for president in the 30s, I think, and FDR just kind of embarrassed him.
Oh, bro, yeah. FDR basically dominated the elections. I swear, people.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
you
remember
don't
back in
the-
1945 voting for
My question
Franklin
is,
Delano Roosevelt.
how did we get to this point?
Mainly because
You talked
brought
about
up
Simon listening to
Theodore
Eminem.
doing meth. Yeah.
Oh, I
Simon
did
listened to
suggest
Eminem.
that is true. I did bring up Simon with Ben Shapiro rapping. That's true.
That is true. I feel like Theodore would definitely result to like being a stripper. I also think the Chipettes would probably fall into the same thing. Can you imagine?
Dude, Theo can throw it back.
Theo. No, that is the wildest thing said on the podcast.
I mean, he ain't lying though.
I just love to imagine like Theodore is like how Michael Jackson was with the Jackson 5, and that like Alvin and Simon are just like, they're just getting all the money and the glory. Well, then you just got 5-year-old Michael Jackson just like hanging out,
Yeah.
That's how I think Theodore is. He's just this pure innocent child, while like Simon and Alvin are just doing
Just said
meth.
that he would become a stripper.
Yeah, well, because that's because he would. It would
The
happen.
best part about Theodore is that he could just put a little bikini bottom on his face and shake that. Because he got them big old cheeks.
Oh god. I don't like how you said that.
What would Alvin turn to?
A pimp.
Yeah, no, Alvin would be a pimp, yeah.
He would sell his
He'd
brothers.
be selling Theodore.
I
Yeah.
do like an impression, Wait,
Yeah.
I just want to hear him.
Alright, hey Tyler, you be Alvin, I'll be Theodore, alright?
Okay.
No.
Okay, do you want to start with Theodore?
Nah, imagine I just walked back in the house after a long day of work after you were pimping me out, alright? So I'll let you start. Like I
Wait, so
just
you're
opened,
like
and we're just
you're like one of my hoes? Is that what you're saying?
well, I'm also your brother, but the one that you're hoeing out.
Yeah, you're one of my girls, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Theodore, where you been? All right, you gotta get your head in the game, man. We got money to make and guys to satisfy. All right, where you been?
Well, hey, listen, sugar. I just been down the street. Listen, I've been tickling some pickles, trying to get some nickels. You know what I'm
You
saying?
can't be tickling pickles for nickels, Theodore. Okay, we're not just for
Listen, have you
nickels.
seen the economy nowadays?
It doesn't matter about the economy, okay? It's gonna change. It's gonna change. We gotta ride it. We gotta increase our prices, okay? It's a tough market.
Listen, our regulars. You think he's willing to pay $10 for a little pickle tickle?
I don't care what the rate of pay, Theodore. We got Simon over here. He's in freaking assisted living because he's absolutely just wasted beyond belief, and he can't even
He did it
function.
to himself.
What do you mean? He's been snipping freaking flex tape and flex glue for the past 10 years because he's a freaking crack addict.
He can't live with himself after helping the Nazis.
Theodore, we all know that that is just a conspiracy. You're coming up with this crap. I don't even know what you're rambling on about. I'm gonna have to let you go.
No, Alvin, please. I need my ketamine.
We're gonna have to put you
I
down.
need my ketamine, Alvin.
Factually, I could actually take Theodore's place because, hypothetically, if I, Simon, were to
Shut the hell up, Simon. Get back in your cage.
You do not talk to your brother that way because factually, I am in fact your brother, and that is very rude, and it goes against facts and law.
Hey, Simon, kill yourself.
No.
Okay, I'm stopping this.
This all came from Is Water Wet?
I have
Dude,
no
I'm not
idea.
even gonna call this. I was originally gonna call the podcast like the most controversial questions in the world. I'm changing the name of the podcast to Alvin and the Pimpmunks.
And the Pimpmunks. Yes, please, please edit like all of them and like pimp outfits, but then with Theodore with just the thong on his.
On his head.
Oh no. I wasn't
Oh
a
my
part of this.
Okay.
Connor was Dave.
You're just like Alvin.
No, David. Alvin, are you pimping out your brothers again?
Not again.
Not
No.
again.
It's like Venezuela.
All right. Let's move on to our next topic before it gets any more off the rails. Are there more doors or wheels in the world? What do we think?
Wheels, because every door technically has a wheel, right? Or is that not? Or is it a hinge?
No, it's
That's
no
a handle.
doors. Probably more doors.
More doors.
You think more doors?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
actually
because
know
like
the
for
answer to this because they've somewhat proved this, I guess. I don't know.
every house there's multiple doors, and for every car there's 4 or 2 doors at least.
I'm
Actually,
going,
okay.
I'm going with
Hold
wheel
on.
only because I feel like, I mean, if we're talking about the traditional wheel, like on a car or wagon or something, I'd go with the door. But I feel like we're not talking about that. We're just meaning anything that's circular and moves for the purpose of moving something else. And if that's the definition we're going by, then I'd have to say wheel just because you could apply that to almost anything that's a circle.
Yeah, because you got wheels on like Hot Wheels. You
Right.
got wheels on certain toys. With the car thing, you have 18-wheelers. You got 2
Okay,
doors,
let's
maybe
never mind.
3,
Yeah,
and then you got
4 at
18
most.
wheels. I mean,
I take that about 5 at most, but still. If you're on an 18-wheeler, you got 8, well, not 18 wheels.
Well, I mean, how many 18-wheelers are there as opposed to
Dallas, there's a lot.
There's a lot of 18, but are there more 18-wheelers than houses though?
no, absolutely not.
No.
Not
Yeah,
even
and that's what I'm
close. There's
saying.
definitely more houses.
And that's what I'm
That's
saying,
a-
because like each house, I would estimate has like an average of maybe 10 to 12 doors, maybe more.
Maybe in the U.S., but I don't know about other places.
That's true.
There's one. I bet without a doubt, if you took all the motorcycles and cars, there would be more motorcycles and cars in the world than there would be like houses. I feel it. Not in the. I don't know.
Because there's a lot of places where cars aren't that common. A lot of places prefer to just use bikes, or a lot of places can't afford cars, so that's another thing to
Right.
consider.
And then there's like public transportation as well. Like in New York, they use trains and buses a lot.
Think of how many. Wait, no.
See, there's a lot
doors.
of houses. There's a lot of houses, but there's also probably got to be a lot of cars out there.
But then again, I mean, typically one household's gonna have more than one car, so you gotta.
And we're not talking about just wheels in use. We're
Right.
talking about wheels. So like,
I'm
I
going.
I'm like talking about that like I'm a salesman. We talking
Like a
about wheels. All right, talking about wheels.
So you're also talking about like steering wheels and stuff?
Oh yeah.
That's true. Steering wheels. Connor, whose side are you on?
What?
Whose side are you on?
I said doors at first, but I don't know anymore.
Yeah, now we're like bringing you over. Connor, you're or not Connor. Christian, you said wheels, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we're kind of. Do you want me to like let you know what the proven answer is?
Whoever.
I want to know how they prove the answer. Do they count every single door and every single wheel in the world?
Or is it just estimated?
There was somebody sent me a post, but there are more wheels than there are doors. I'm looking at just quick stuff, so I don't know if this is actually true. But yes, there are more cars in the world than people. There are more cars in the world than people. I don't know if I believe that. That sounds
If there's more cars than
impossible.
people, then why can't anybody afford one?
I mean,
It seems extremely hard to believe.
I mean, but like, do you think starving children in Africa have access to a four-wheeler?
Absolutely. Of
Some
course.
of them.
I would just like to say I have watched Captain Phillips, so I know in Somalia they don't have four-wheelers, they just have a lot of boats.
I mean, the boat still technically
Sure.
has a wheel, though. It's got a steering wheel.
Yeah, it does have
I
steering
don't
wheel.
think so.
And does the fan count as wheel?
Nah, the fan is that's spinny.
Spinny?
Yeah, that's spinny.
What do you think a door is or a wheel is?
It's spinny.
Can
Well,
we
it's like
shoot
it's like
Alex?
it's like
Exactly.
self-spinny. Like it's like you. Okay, so the propeller on a boat is just natural spinny, right? A wheel is like inflicted spinny.
Both of them you would have. There has to be a level of human intervention for it to even spin to begin with.
Yeah, but it's like to me the spinny thing on a boat, that's a propeller more so.
It is a propeller.
Yeah, but a propeller. I mean, by that, but no, but by that logic,
I think
wait,
it's
are you arguing that you think it's a
A
wheel? That you think the
propeller,
propeller is a
okay.
wheel?
What is a wheel? Because a wheel is a round object made to move something forward, right? It's just something. What is the definition of a wheel? Because now we're really opening up a
I'll say
whole new world.
this: wheeled chairs. I'm literally sitting in a chair with wheels right now, so
Oh, that's true.
I might be swaying towards wheels as of right now.
Here's this, guys. A circular object that revolves on an axle and is fixed below a vehicle or other object to enable it to move easily over the ground.
Oh, so that means a propeller would count as a wheel.
It would
That,
count as a wheel,
so that
kind
means
of,
planes
because it
and
is circular and it revolves around an axle. The only part that's a little weird is enable it to move easily over the ground. It doesn't really go on the ground, but it technically does go over the ground. It just doesn't touch the ground.
oh,
right?
then yeah, it wouldn't count as a wheel then, because the wheel needs to be in contact with the ground. Then now,
Well, no, but it doesn't necessarily specify contact with the ground. It just needs to go over. Like a plane
Wait.
flies over land, but
does
doesn't
that
touch
also
land.
does that also technically mean by that definition a steering wheel is technically not a wheel because it's not in contact with the ground?
No, Dallas, are you listening to what I'm?
No, I'm listening. No, but the definition, right? The definition just said, right, that it was a wheel is a circular object.
No, Dallas.
Is
It
it not a
says
circular?
a circular object that revolves on an axle is fixed below a vehicle or other object to enable it to move easily over the ground. But my point is just because it's over the ground, it doesn't mean on the ground. It doesn't have to move
Oh, I see.
on the ground. So a plane goes
Is over the
over
ground.
land. It doesn't go on land.
That's true.
So by definition from Oxford Languages, this is then a steering wheel would count, a propeller would count, the plane propeller would count, I mean, a lot more things would count in that situation.
What's the definition for door?
Door definition? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like does like a hatch count as a door, like technically or something, like like the things that you open on like your cup. Like I know that's a stupid idea, but I'm just like I wonder if there's a way we can fit it in to the definition.
Oh, you mean like the little like for certain coffee cups where you can lift up the tab?
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a technicality where that could technically be counted as like a trap door or
Oh
something.
no. A hinged, sliding, or revolving barrier at the entrance to a building, room, or vehicle, or in the framework of a cupboard. Who the hell uses cupboard? Yeah, so that means that actually narrows that down a good bit because you only get vehicles, you only get buildings, you only get rooms or cupboards.
Yeah.
So that means a like a dollhouse door wouldn't count because it's not a building. It's a toy
Right.
house. I mean, unless
That's
you were
true.
saying it's still a house, then maybe. But then like a chest wouldn't count. Like that's not a door.
Right.
I mean, a lot of stuff wouldn't count in that
Yeah,
situation.
but who uses like this isn't Minecraft? Like who uses chests? Who's
Yeah.
like
Bro, I
who's
got my
the-
ender chest in my bedroom right now. Okay, I go wherever. Like
Wait,
my
there's a drawer. It said a drawer didn't count, right?
no, no drawers
Okay.
don't count.
So
Drawers
drawers
don't
don't
count.
count.
That's a big. Oh wait, no, it says sliding.
So
So
drawers
yeah, it
could
would
count.
count. Yeah, drawers do count. Drawers and cabinets count.
That's that but and don't technically technically for drawers to actually open, don't they technically have wheels like in the makeup?
They do.
Yeah, 'cause
They
they
do.
do.
Unless it's a sliding one where it's just bare wood against each other.
And nobody uses that because it's like you like
Oh,
it feels weird. It's like chalk
wow.
on a
Why don't you
chalkboard.
tell? Why don't you tell the? Let's bring back in the African children here.
Okay.
The
That's not what I
children
expected you to
in
say.
South Africa. You know, they're over here with their drawers to their cupboards. That
Wheelless.
wheelless, and you're just like, why would you
They're
use
wheelless.
that? It feels so wrong. You have no wheels. You know, like.
Yeah.
Let's get all right, everybody. Hashtag cancel Dallas. Let's get that started.
Wait,
I've been waiting
fuck.
years to cancel Dallas.
Dang.
I am personally all for I literally there's a petition in the description to sign it, and if you do, we will give for every time you sign it, you an African child gets a wheel. Okay?
A wheel.
You have to throw the wheel at him though.
No, it like drops from like a plane in a box. No, it doesn't. It's not even in a box. It just drops. The
Just
wheel
wheels.
and it drops it on like a small village. Just this giant tire wheel.
Oh
Just
god. Then you start like some sort of like then they start believing that it's like some miracle from God that like just wheels. They've blessed us with wheels. You know. Everyone's just like singing the wheel song. No. Let's get into our we're about running short on time, guys. Let's get into our last final topics and let's be done so I can just cleanse my brain. Well, our last topic is a big topic for me because I've had tell you guys about this. I've had a big heated debate with somebody at school about this, and if they're listening, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And let's just say it's a conflicting thing in our society. Is tipping a requirement? Do you think tipping that you should always, when you go to a restaurant, regardless of if the food was bad, blah blah blah, is tipping always something you should do? And then what is the base tip? What is the minimum tip that you should give, regardless of how good the service was?
I don't really eat out, so I don't know.
You don't tip your mother? Excuse me?
Monster.
I tip her with verbal thanks.
I thought he was
Wow.
going to say verbal abuse.
that's a Chad move.
You suck. No, it's a Chad move. Whoa.
Yeah, I think tipping thing that's a hard one because it's like if the food's bad, it's like you don't want to support low quality, but at the same time, it's like it could. I think it depends on the situation. If the food is bad and the waitress is rude or waiter or what's the gender neutral word for waiter?
Waitress?
Hold up, one question.
Wait, hold on. Are you asking what the gender neutral?
Yeah, for waiter. Because like waiter implies male, waitress implies female.
Wait. Wait. Just
Wait.
wait. I don't know, man. Is there should I look that up? Can we just keep talking? I'm gonna look
Gender
this up.
neutral waiter.
Server. Oh, okay. Why did we make that?
Server. Okay,
That was literally
server.
not that hard.
Yeah, that's not that hard. But if your server is rude and the food sucks, I think that you are inclined to either give a very low tip or not tip at all. But if the food sucks and the server is nice, then I think you can tip the server and stuff like that. And it's the same thing vice versa. If the food is good but the server sucks, I still think you tip to support the making of the food.
Well, why don't I
Okay.
give you guys a little bit of context as to why this became and I want you guys to let me know what you guys would do in this situation. So I've never had sushi before, right? So my buddies went to go take us to go get sushi. Me and my brother never had sushi before. So we get there, and like if you've never had sushi before, sushi's typically pretty expensive, right? Like sushi can be, I think I don't really know because I haven't had a lot of sushi, but I mean from what I know, it's like you can expect to pay at least $20. It's definitely one of those things where in my opinion, it's really pricey, and I don't know if it's worth the price. Like, there's no way. Like, if somebody invited me out to go eat sushi, it's not like I'm gonna be like, no,
They better pay for it.
I'm bringing my own. Yeah, well, yeah, I might actually expect that, but it's also like I'm not gonna complain about it if I have to pay for it. I'm just gonna. But that's kind of the big point. It's already expensive, right? So we get there, and at this particular one, they had like an unlimited menu, like a buffet style thing, where you just ask for a roll and they bring it out to you.
Yeah.
And there were certain things, and even then, I think you had to pay extra for certain things, if I'm not wrong. But like, it was like $30 for the buffet, which is crazy. Like
Wow.
that is a large chunk of my paycheck. $30 for food, like that's insane. You know,
That's
I mean,
big for anybody.
that's more than half of what I spend on gas. You know, I
Damn.
mean, that's insane. And so I'm like, well, I'm not doing that because to only get like one roll, and I don't eat a lot. It was like I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't as near as much. I think I only actually spent from what I would have spent if they, had done it right, $15. But anyways, they give us they give us the menus or whatever, and one of the waiters there basically looks to my friend. He's like, "Have you been here before? Can you explain the menus?" And he's like, "Yeah." So they gave us the menus, and we ordered our food or whatever, and we kind of start to realize, like, is this like an unlimited menu? And we kind of started to read it, and we are like, oh, this is like the unlimited menu. And I was like kind of pissed because I'm like, I'm not spending $30 on one roll of sushi. Like, now that is actually insane, you know? Like, I'm gonna get away. Like, I purposely got one roll because I only wanted to spend like $10 or $12 or something. Like, dude, this is insane. And so when the lady came around, like, she was, because I think the lady was like fairly new or whatever. I don't know. She might have said she was new, something like that. And I kind of was like, hey, I didn't want the unlimited. I just wanted a roll. And she was kind of just like, oh, well, we'd have to, redo the order or something like that. Like, I don't know. It said she had to do something so I could do that. And I told her, I was like, well, yeah, I'm not paying $30 for one roll. Like, that's not what I wanted. And so, she gets it all figured out. I only had to pay like $13 or whatever. But then it comes to like tipping or whatever. Like I think I gave I actually think I spent $10, and I think I gave a 10% tip. I think I gave $1 tip, right?
Okay.
I think my brother, he gave, I don't know how much he spent, but I think he only gave maybe like a $3 or $5 tip, something like that. So it's like 10, 12%. And then my other friend gave no tip because he's big. He's kind of like, it's got this big thing where he's like no tip, which in some ways I get it, because when you think about it, tipping is extra. It's extra money you're giving somebody. So yes, the waiter, like these servers, they rely on tipping for sometimes for a lot of them for their paycheck for the majority of it at least. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's how it should be, right?
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's like I'm not just gonna tip you. I'm not just gonna give you $15 extra because I have to, or that I feel morally obligated to, you know. So in that point, I get it. So then my friend got offended that we didn't do a big tip, and he gave a $15 tip. He spent
Jesus.
$30. He gave a 50% tip. And we were like, why the heck would you tip that well? And he was like, because you always gave terrible tips. In the aspects of somebody who is a server, a $1 is a terrible tip. As the customer, I didn't have great service, so I'm not going to give you a great tip.
Y'all are all probably going to disagree with it. Most people do disagree with my opinion, but screw it. I'm going to say it anyways. I just don't tip. And I don't mean just in that situation. I mean, I just don't tip.
I think if anybody would have not tipped in this chat, it would have been you, Christian. I honestly am not
I'm,
surprised
I'm
at
not
all.
saying it's surprising. I'm saying it's kind of, I get a lot of bad, a lot of people are like, oh, that's kind of mean. That's a jerk move. But here's my reasoning, right? Because I've worked at Subway, and inside the Subway, we had a little tip jar, whatever. So I'm used to having, say, tips be about a quarter, being worth about a quarter to sometimes even half my paycheck. I get that, right?
Mhm.
And I get that people need to live off of it. My perspective is, and truth, I mean, I was always grateful for a tip, but I never asked for it. I never suggested the person do it. Like, the jar's there, but I never pushed it. And my whole logic is, imagine you're a customer. Specifically, imagine you're a single mother, you got 4 kids, you have 2 jobs, and you're real tight on money. You have to spend all your money on your utilities, your kids' school supplies, gas, food, that, the other, right? If you
Mhm.
spend however much money on your meal, why in the world should you have to pay any more when you're already struggling with money? Especially if it's for some person you don't know that's just doing their job that already gets a paycheck.
Yeah, I would
Now,
agree.
and listen, right? Like I said, I understand some people live off of paychecks, and I get it, right? That's rough. That's very tough, and people have
Well,
had it
everybody
harder
lives
than me.
off paychecks, right?
Did you mean to say
I'm sorry.
tips?
I meant to say tips. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
My mouth's running faster than my brain is. But my whole point
Better go
is,
catch it.
I get that some people live off of tips, but I mean, that's just unfortunate. But I think that the customer, I don't know. I think they should be put first. If that, because at the end of the day, the server's getting paid no matter what. They might get a little bit less because they're just relying on a paycheck and not tips, but at least they're getting something.
I agree.
Right.
Like, I think I worked at, now this is obviously the same, but I worked at Publix for a little while, and I was like a cashier slash bagger. And there, you'd have all the time where people would be like, oh, here, let me give you a tip for like walking them out to their car or whatever. But you were not allowed to take tips at Publix, which I low key respect so much
I
because,
hated the fact that Subway had a tip jar. Obviously, I can't just put it away because it's not mine. It's the people that own the store. But I hated the fact that we had it out there because it made some people feel pressured that they had to.
oh, yeah. Now, I don't. Here's the thing. Like, I think a tip jar honestly is great because I think that's the only thing that indulges people to actually do better at their job. Like, I work in an ice cream shop. I get tips a lot. Actually, a good bit of my pay is off tips, but not as much as like a server would, where theirs is like where they get hourly like maybe like $3 or $4. I get regular minimum wage, and then but I just get there's a lot of money that comes from like tips and stuff. But it's like it's very disappointing when you look at say your coworker on the right and he's like not showing any sort of emotion, not trying to be nice, nothing like that. And then you're like actually communicating with the customer, you're trying to find the best flavor they like, whatever, and then like you don't get tipped and they don't get tipped or they get tipped and you don't. Like that's extremely disappointing. Like I think that my biggest issue is the value of tipping just kind of gets depleted if you have to tip.
Have you seen the TikTok? It's that girl that works at Starbucks
Yes.
complaining that she had to make
Yes.
a milkshake for a guy.
She's like, when I have to wake up, make a grown man's milkshake at 6:30 in the morning.
Like, why'd you pick to
It's
work
your
at
job.
Starbucks then? Like,
What did you think was gonna happen?
I mean,
You
it's not
know?
like he's knocking on your door, like asking you to make it. It's like you get
Yeah.
paid for it.
This isn't your husband who is just like begging you for a milkshake in the morning and you just had to because you felt bad. Like, no, you're getting paid to do this. If you said no, you're getting fired. You know?
I have to make a grown man's milkshake. My life is so horrible.
That would be funny though to just work at a. I'm not gonna do this, but it'd be funny to work
Yeah.
at a, if you're at a fast food place and somebody's like, "Hey, can I get this?" and you're just like, "Nah,
Nah. I would-
Nah.
Do it at Chick.
Oh man.
I'll give you $100 if you do it at Chick-fil-A.
dude,
I'm
I will
kidding.
get
$100.
slapped if I do." My
Oh,
manager
you're-
will. I'm like 95% sure my manager will actually run me over with a semi truck.
No, Alex is just gonna go in the back and smack you up.
No, legitimately, he's gonna be so
throwing
disappointed
sauce
in me.
packets at you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I get drowned in Chick-fil-A sauce, like waterboarded, but it's just Chick-fil-A sauce.
It's just the Polynesian.
What's the last thing, basically? Because we're a little over time, but what is like the least amount you tip? Like if you go somewhere, what's your usual tip?
Well, for Christian, it's 0. So
Yeah, I guess that's true.
For me, technically, it's like
respect zero.
negative 40 because
You
Okay.
see, I have a chronic condition. I'm a people pleaser, and I like it whenever people like me. And so whenever, like, I'll say this: whenever it asks, like, "Would you like to tip?" I always do. But like sometimes,
yeah.
whenever it's like cash tips, I sometimes forget because I don't always have cash on me. But like like the pop-up screens where it's like, "Would you like to tip this much?" I almost
Oh, yeah.
always pick at least like I know you're gonna laugh at me. It's usually either 5 or 10 for me.
Oh yeah, no, that's solid. I mean, 5 or 10% or $5 or $10. Hold on.
$5 or $10.
What? You tip $5 or $10 every time?
Yeah.
Holy crap! Wait, what?
I
on
thought
what?
thought I was in the safe zone. I thought you were gonna be like, "Oh man, that's nice." of
5
you."
or 10% makes sense. Wait, okay, so
No.
what would you buy that you tip $5 to $10?
I only do it if they're nice to me.
Mhm.
Okay, if they're nice to me, I tip like $5, $10, sometimes 15. But if they're mean,
Holy crap!
like I
Sometimes
tip like
15?
$1.
Are you rolling in it, man?
No, I'm not. I just
Alex is
I,
a
How much is
billionaire.
Chick-fil-A
Jesus
paying
Christ.
you? Dang.
Dude, if I go to Chipotle and I spend 18 I spent for example, I spent like close to $20 on my last thing that I got at Chipotle. I got queso, that's why. I'm a freaking pig.
queso is so good though.
It is. How do you go get a quesadilla at Chipotle and not get queso? Like
You get the
what?
quesadillas? What?
They're solid,
Do you not
dude.
get the burritos?
No, I get the quesadillas. I love
Dang,
it.
I gotta try the quesadillas.
You should. But you're telling me you go there, you already spend $20 and you tip maybe $10, $15?
It's only if they're super, super nice. Like if like there was one lady at like a Chili's that I went to with my sister and a friend, and she was so rude. And like she pretty much spent the whole time complaining about her job, and she literally stopped in the middle of her job and just stood there for like legitimately 5 minutes just complaining about her job. And I'm like, all right, I'm tipping like $1. Like, nah.
You're spending like $30 then when you go eat sometimes instead of like 18. Like, dude,
yeah.
I'll go to Chipotle and I won't tip. The thing, yeah, you know what? If you're tipping $15 or $10 to the people who are doing a really good job, you know what? Good, keep doing it. But if you're just tipping $10 or $5 like base, just because
That's
you feel
not
like you need
base.
to,
That's
Oh, but
like
that's
15's like the highest I go.
okay. So 15's if they're really really nice. 10 is like if they're nice, and then what is 5? Is 5 that they just work
Five
there?
is five is they did their job and they did it well.
Wow. Okay.
And so
See
it's like
now,
10 is they did their job and they were nice. 15 is like I genuinely really want this person to serve me again.
yeah. No. See, I just do the percentage. Like if they did just a mediocre job, I'm doing a 10% tip. So if $10 is $1. If they did a pretty good job, like they're very nice and stuff like that, then I'm doing 15%. I'm doing like $1.50. And if they're doing now, if they did like a phenomenal job, I might tip $3-4. You know, I might do more of like a 30 or 40% tip. It all depends on how much it costs. You know, like I've always spent like $3 like in an ice cream shop, and they did a really really good job. Then I'll probably just go ahead and tip like $5, and I will just go ahead and throw the percentage out of the way.
Right.
Because I do think it's like really valuable that you actually tip people well. But anyways, we are at the end of the podcast. I'm gonna give us our aphorism to close us out. Is there any final words for everybody?
I'm concerned as to what the aphorism is because you started wheezing uncontrollably whenever you looked up the aphorism.
I had to abandon it, so don't worry, because there was nothing good. It was just weird Alvin and the Chipmunk quotes. Oh god. Yeah, I got mine. I actually had one, but here's the different one that I just found. Hunger is the best sauce. That's it.
What?
Theodore have that one?